How about now? Can you guys hear me now? It's lighting up. I'm not sure. Let me check my headset too, just in case. Okay, all I had to do was refresh it then. Um, so I planned on jumping on and having a podcast with Sith, and he kind of can't make it. So I don't have a second person to have that podcast with unless the person, that one specific person which knows who I'm talking to, wants to jump on and discuss what we've been talking about for the last 2.5 weeks. Your call, but let me know. Anyway, I don't want to get too much into the topics without Sith being here because there's an actual conversation. But I figured I would jump on and BS hang out, just talk and see how everything's going with everybody. I wanted to get on last night and do reactions, but I went to bed early. Bill has about 10 minutes. Yeah, I can't guarantee how long I'm going to be on. It depends on how far the conversations go. One thing I was checking out was all the different aspects on a lot of music videos. And I gotta say, some of the most well put songs, like some of the most well put videos, out of all the different artists that I listen to, which there's quite a few, Jelly Roll has some of the best when it comes to storytelling. A Fall with a Fall, and where him and Struggles together, he has one by himself, Dancing with Ghosts or something. They really do tell some pretty good stories. So if you guys want to see some story type music, that's what you want to go aim for. Okay, I guess Candyman ain't going to come on because he don't want to talk about it live. But I'm starting to feel that our whole history has been just a big confusion. Let me see something. Voice and video. I'm starting to believe that our whole history is just confusion. And looking at all the different people from past histories, for instance, I got them written down. I won't get too much into the actual topic, but yeah, I got a bunch of papers here. Oh, that's a song I'm working on. Okay. Yeah, more or less, here we go. That's where I can go with this. We have Yonaguni, or Yamati, whatever you want to call it. It's in Japan. Some say it's a sunken city, some say it's not. It kind of, in my opinion, as big as it is and as perfectly cut as it is, it's not going to form naturally. So I can't argue or agree because I might be wrong, but that's how things work. But there's also Göbekli Tepe, which is like 9600 BC when that was built, which is I'm pretty sure on top of a mountain in Turkey. We have the Clovis people, 14,500 years ago, the earliest. And there's all these different cultures from around the world that was pre-civilization, and I think that we need to go look at them to be able to find out more answers. I'm still wet behind the ears, and baby, when it comes to all of this, you're better off asking someone with more knowledge. Yeah, well, I tried real hard to line a whole bunch of people from different religions that were like scholars and preachers and rabbis. And I thought I had a couple of them lined up, but things happen with them where you can't hold it against them. You got to help your people if that's what your thing is. So I was trying to get a bunch of different people. I was even trying to reach out to somebody who does a lot of Norse religion and like heavily follows it. And it just don't always work out, but I think that there's something that we're all missing when it comes to not just the aspects of the religion, but the ancient history of us as a human species. I mean, we're told what to think, and if you think outside the box, it's like held against you. For instance, you had the Sumerian and the Zulu tribes in, I think, Arcadia was also the people from there. They were all talking about a time before the moon. They say the moon's been here for millions of years. If there's cultures that's talking about a time before it, and there's also evidence that backs it, you can't really ignore it, period, no matter what your religion is. There's a lot of ages in the Bible that would correlate, in the Christian Bible and in the Talmud, that would correlate people being here at a time before the moon. Because I'm sorry, I don't necessarily believe people being 1,000 years old or 969 years old or whatever. But if you look at the time dilation, contact Dr. Turek and Apologetic and Theologian and see what he says. Maybe. But if you consider a time dilation, that takes your days significantly different. You're going from 4 hours to 24 hours. You're going to controlled seasons from non-controlled. You're going from erratic spins and earthquakes and stuff like that that I don't think you'd necessarily have once the moon would have arrived. So there's a lot of crazy things. You're also going through pole reversals when it would arrive. So maybe we're all just being confused, or they're just misconstruing us because it's what the easiest thing for them to think of. But I think that when it comes to science or history, or even the fact of like our historical records, a lot of it's skewed because it's not understood, so they find the easiest way to explain it. What in the hell is that? I don't know. I thought I heard something in the background, but it must be outside. Who knows? But either way, if you would like to come on, come on. I'm not going to hold it against you. You're somebody that I know that I can have on here where I don't have to worry about you trying to intentionally say things that could get me banned. That's why I don't bring a lot of people that I don't know on. See, Phil, I don't necessarily believe the whole hollow moon theory. If you were to tell me that the earth is hollow, I'd give you a little more credence, but I'd only say in a catacomb form, like a honeycomb type deal, because that's just, we know that there's been honeycomb shapes created by lava and people lived in it. I seen that pop up and didn't get to watch it. I shared the video. It's from the Y-Files, and it talks about a lot of things like that. Like I said, I don't necessarily believe the moon would be hollow. I think that it rang like a bell. So maybe there's a gap between the outer shell and the core, but I don't necessarily know if it would be something that you could really... Hold on, let me see. Okay. So I don't know if it would be hollow. I can't speak on it. I believe we've been there. I don't believe in the whole conspiracy that we didn't go to the moon. I believe we've been there, and I believe that we may have been told to get off or scared. There's something scared the hell out of us. But who knows? I watched all the moon landings growing up. And when I was younger, I seen the one astronaut, and it was like he was almost booking across the screen. And it's like, wait a minute, how you doing, Lewis? It's like, wait a minute, this kind of makes me wonder now. Why is this astronaut going so fast when they tell you got to control your speed so you don't get lost or you don't launch yourself up or whatever? So I do look at that aspect. Now, the question really would be is, where did the moon come from? I don't believe it's part of Earth. I damn sure don't believe it's part of Earth. Between Mars and Jupiter, there's a Kuiper belt. And then it's like the way that, I don't know the easiest way to explain. Okay, so the Kuiper belt is a belt that is more or less between Mars and Jupiter and then all the way out past Pluto. And there's two major areas, but the whole thing's the Kuiper belt, I guess, from my understanding. But what created that? Because that's all asteroids and stuff. Is what's in that Cooper belt, Kuiper belt or Kuiper belt, whatever it is, Kuiper belt. Is that what the whole? Is that the same material as the moon was made of? Because if it was, that could change a whole bunch of things. Because we have all these people from thousands of years ago, but we also have an asteroid piece. I don't know how big it was, but it was found in Antarctica. It came from Mars. And they said something hit Mars 4.5 billion years ago, but this landed 13,000 years ago. Like I said, that video on YouTube channel Wi-Fi. Yeah, see, I watched that video. I actually shared that on my Facebook because there was a part of that I have been looking into for a long period of time, and that's where the moon came more recently. Like, it would. So just think, this is only a thought. This is not something that I would really try to push to paper, but think of Pangea. It was all one con. Now focus on where the pyramids that we have found. If you look at Pangea and focus where the pyramids are, we run into a situation where they're all clustered. Now think about like when it's split up. What would happen if it came that the moon came 13,000 years ago and that's why it split up? Like, that's one of the big things with me that I kind of feel may have happened, because there's more evidence for that, and that even goes into historical and religious and everything like that. Let me see. I am trying to avoid anything that I really wanted to talk to with Sith about. Also, there's Mars. If you guys haven't seen it or never knew to look, go look at a picture of Mars and think to yourself, why is the bottom part of Mars, the bottom part of the planet of Mars, so much wider than the top part? It's known, it's on record. NASA even made like records about it. They had a 6,000 mile wide impact on Mars called the Borealis impact. Kind of makes you wonder. Let me see. And that could honestly explain why we forget our history. Because if Mars was to arrive at that point in time, our days would change. Like I said, there's biblical figures that the math breaks down. It breaks down real easily. And this is where I should have somebody on here, because I know there's questions that are there that haven't been asked. You know what? I'm going to hold off on going any further with that. Either way, I will throw an update video up. As a matter of fact, I'm going to end this kind of sooner rather than later. But I will throw an update video up on when we're going to do this podcast, since Sith is still waiting for the hot water guy. That's the text that I had got. So he says, I'm still waiting on a hot water heater guy. So he can't make it. So I'm going to end the stream, I think, and update everybody when we can do this podcast. And that way we can talk more, because I know there's a lot of questions and things of that nature. And I really dive into a lot of these things. But just, if I was to give anybody any information on anything, it's nothing to do with anything that I talk about on here. It's think outside the box and do some research. You never know what you'll find. I will say, there's a couple of different stories that involve religion that go back to around that time. But that's two of the big things that we'll be talking about on the podcast. But I can't say much more than that until I have the right people affiliated with it. Or not affiliated, but there. At least one other person that I know has got questions or arguments against anything I talk about. And I'm all for it. So with that being said, I'm gonna get out of here. I will be around, send messages. I just work like an idiot in physical therapy and busy. So till I get the information from Sith, stay savage. I'm out of here.